Millions of families and professionals will touch the child welfare system this year alone. And it's the same every year. This is the truth. Our system is complicated, it's confusing, and it's difficult to navigate. I'm your host, Shanelle Dupree, and this is Navigating Child Welfare. Because I don't know anyone who has navigated a system confused and has achieved the best possible outcome. And the outcomes are not just simple metrics. We're talking about families, we're talking about communities, and we're talking about impacting generations. So hug your loved ones a little bit tighter and let's dive in to make connections, gain clarity, and navigate the child welfare system well. Will come and I I appreciate that, and I've been doing a lot of talking and listening to people who are involved in the system, people who have worked in the system, and people who volunteer in the system. And my passion project is making sure that people know how to navigate the system,
Right.
making sure that people know their power in the system, and making sure that people can get out in a way, in a manner that makes sense. And I started this years ago, but now I'm revamping it. And what I was talking about earlier was this heavy load that we're putting on our caseworkers. What you are doing is you're the community and you're activating other parts of the community that the state doesn't have access to. They can't do what you can do. And so
Right.
you're a part of the child welfare ecosystem. And so my project is helping people understand who's a part of the child welfare ecosystem and how people can activate change from wherever they are, and then teaching agencies and people who work directly with families to work with these other partners. Like, stop ignoring them or thinking that they
Right.
don't have a voice. They do, but we have to partner well. And then
Right.
the last part is actually having webinars that are helpful for families and foster families so that they know how to navigate the system. I talk to former foster youth and they tell me, I didn't even know I was in foster care. Like, I didn't even understand what was happening to me. No one told me what was actually happening to me. Same thing with parents, same things with foster parents. They'll go to these hearings and they'll be like, I have no idea what they're saying. There's all these acronyms. No one's talking to me. I don't get an opportunity to actually say anything or share what's happening with
Exactly.
this child. And so we're having webinars every month where foster parents and parents are able to just log in and get their questions answered, so that they understand how to navigate the child welfare system. And so um, I love what you're doing, but I also know that, man, we have to like ignite the system, the ecosystem, so that we can all do good work like you're doing in New York.
Yeah. You hit on a whole bunch of topics. Most of the foster families in my area, the older ones are all leaving. They don't like the new culture. They don't like what's going on. They don't like the lack of supports. Um, and the ones that are hanging in there, which is the newer ones, they need webinars. They need somebody to help them because it's just like the agency that I'm with. They just started a family support group. Okay, the problem with it is, and they should have asked. They
Yeah.
should have asked me one question. And I would, let me ask them one question. Who's going to be in the room? I
Hmm.
wanted it to be just foster families and maybe somebody like yourself, not somebody that's in administration down there because
Yep.
they did this a long time ago. And this hierarchy forgets that piece or doesn't know about it. They did this a long time ago. The foster families are not going to speak up about what's really
Yep.
going on
Yep.
when their sitting supervisor is in the room.
Yep.
They
They
can't
don't feel
say,
safe. They don't feel
yeah,
safe. Yeah.
exactly. And
Yep.
the foster
You're
kids aren't
right.
going to speak up. They've had
Yep.
some for them. They're not going to speak up because their case planners in the room.
Yep.
And um, we have always allowed our kids to speak in court. We've allowed them to speak up. I'm trying to teach them they have to be their own voices. And it's hard because a lot of them have gone through a lot of trauma and
Yep.
it's hard.
But
But
that's going to be one of our webinars, how to actually show up in court. Like, what do you need to wear? How do you address the judge? How do you make sure your voice is heard? I've heard stories of older foster youth who their workers telling them, "Oh, you don't need to come to court. What are you talking about? Like, this is your case. You need to," and then they don't know what's happening. They're getting these mixed messages. And so I'm so excited that these webinars are going to be launching because, like, what that just that hurts my heart. Like when people don't have the right
Now
information. Yes.
you got a bullseye, and that bullseye is not only are the foster kids not basically allowed, even though they can legally go, they discourage the foster parents from going. And I can tell you that they don't want me there because the judges are constantly calling on me. I want to hear Steve's version.
Yeah.
I want to hear Steve's version of what's going on. And a lot of times it's different because I'm going to tell them exactly what's going on because I'm living it. I know the
Yes.
kid. And
Yes.
we're discounted. And um, I think your webinar is great. I have an ask. I want to know if you'd come on our podcast and broadcast it out to New York State, what you're doing. That
Oh,
I would love to have you on. It's
I would
about a
love to.
40-minute thing. You can talk about what you're offering out there. There's no
For sure.
reason you can't be in New York State with a webinar where you're in Kansas.
Kansas, the
Uh,
heartland. For
I have
sure.
to be careful with KC because I'm a Buffalo Bills fan.
Ah,
So
ah. For sure.
well,
Steve, I have a ask of you just really quickly. Can
go
you
ahead.
just name a few things, like a few questions that you had as a new foster parent? So when you were starting out, what was confusing to you? What did you have questions about that no one could really answer? Or what did you kind of have to figure out on your own?
I think most foster families are going to say they're lost in all of it. Um, we go through a training. In my day, it was a 12-week training module. We had to go every week. My
Yep.
wife had to attend too. We had to go every week at night. I think it was 3 hours. So that would make it about 36 hours plus some other kind outside training. And besides all the paperwork they had to do, which was a ton, um, they teach these classes. And now it's reduced. A lot of it's online
Right.
and stuff, and it's reduced. They've made it. You'd think they would increase it because I think a lot of foster parents need more training because
Hmm.
they're lost. Um, but I think it's like 12 hours now, and you can be a foster parent. That's crazy. Um, to specifically your question, um, look, I'm probably not the right one to ask because I go in open eyed. If I don't know, I'm going to ask the question. Unfortunately, I'm not a lot of foster parents, and they don't ask until they're buried, and then they're sitting at home with a crisis going on. And what do I? Somebody just dropped off 3 kids to my house with no paperwork, a bag that's full of their possessions, and it's a garbage bag, and
Mm.
they just drop it in your house, and there's no um, strategy or intake meeting or nothing
Wow.
with these kids, and it makes it hard for the foster parent because what happens is the very next day they can't call. They have an on call at night. A lot of times it's the low person on the totem pole in the agency. They don't know. They can't answer the questions. You have to call them the next day.
Mm.
Well, like you said, you could get 5, 6 different people on the phone the next day, and you're going to get different answers.
Yeah.
And more importantly, you're not going to get the help you need for your particular crisis. And it could be about meds. It could be about schooling. A lot of time, most of the kids that come to my house, more on the rural part of Utica. Our school is different than the main Utica schools, and
Okay.
so we're pulling kids out of schools. They come here, and my first question to them is usually, you know, what's going on with the school, and how are we going to fix that piece? Because
Right.
there's no way to transport them. The bus doesn't come to where we are. Um,
Mm.
it, I don't know. Look, there's probably 1,000 questions, and they're not answered. They're not
Yeah.
answered in trainings.
Yeah.
It,
Well, I'll
most,
tell you, the webinars that we're launching, this is going to be it's the training after the train wreck. So it's like you have the training and you're like, oh, I can do this. And then the train wreck happens and then you're like, okay, wait a minute.
right,
Training
right.
taught me nothing. How do I
I,
deal with like this real thing that's happening?
that's a
Yes.
good approach. I'm serious. You can
For
be very
sure.
busy because
Yes.
there's a lot of train wrecks,
Yes, lots of
and
train wrecks. No, you're
look,
naming practical things, so that's good.
yeah, that's most important to a foster home is somebody answers the question, even if it's a no, because a lot of
Yes.
times the questions aren't answered. And to be
Mm,
perfectly honest, if a lot of the kids that come to my house because they have profound needs, they could be trauma, but also have autism, trauma, mental health, trauma, physical disability. And so when you contact, you know, the people that help support all that, you're getting a lot of no's and or no or non-answers. They won't answer the questions.
Yeah.
And it's not like you can go to a meeting and ask questions. They don't have those kinds of things. They just now
Mm,
started, like I said, that support group. I believe it'll fail because nobody's going to say anything
yeah.
in it. And if you got a lot of newbies in there, they're not going to speak up. They're going to be afraid to
Yeah.
speak up, and then the train wreck's going to happen. And I'm going to have to
Yeah.
give you a card.
Yeah. For sure. Steve, it's been so good talking to you. This was amazing. I appreciate you
I
reaching out.
I love surrounding myself with um, doers, the main thing, and but also people that are really truly interested in trying to find a better way,
Yes.
because there is a
Yes.
better way,
There is. There
and period
is.
in all of this, this
Yes.
craziness that we have,
For
and
sure. Because I'm
like
like, why would I stay in a place where like it's always going to be terrible? It's always going to be broken. Like, I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in, okay, we see it. What is one thing that we can do? Like, what's the next thing? And how do we connect with people who are doing things? And then it just like compounds. And so I agree. I'm with you, Steve. I'm with you. If you are interested in doing something different, learning about a way to build partnerships, navigate conflict, and build trust, you are invited to take the 360-degree assessment. This assessment is located on our website, www.sinkingchildwelfare.com. The link will be in the show notes. Once you take this assessment, it's going to tell you where you fit on the 360-degree map, how you work with other partners, how supported or overwhelmed you feel, and how ready your organization is to partner and build trust. Take the first step today. The entire purpose of the Sinking Child Welfare Program is to help folks reclaim their time and peace of mind through simplifying the system and supporting people doing the work of reintegration and restoration. Let's connect today.